No Owen Farrell on this list and no Richie Mwanga. So what is the top 10 list of 10s going to look like? Well, we're going to find out in a few minutes' time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers, and this is my player power rankings. My effort basically just to fill that gap for a couple of weeks while there's no rugby on. Rugby Championship is back on the 10th. The last of the videos for this series will come out on the 9th. So there you go. You've got a little bit of rugby every single day. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any of it. And tell me what you think about these. My top 10 list, I have got 2 players in the same position, 8 players going up, 2 fresh faces on the list. Santiago Carreras is back in the top 10. Come on now, Santi. Deliver. Deliver. I want this guy to take this Los Pumas team by the scruff of the neck and boss it. He has got all the skill in the world. So naturally talented. He plays in the Premiership for Gloucester and I've watched him a lot. And whether it's fullback, whether it's 10, he does things that very few players, let alone 10s or 15s, can do on a rugby pitch. He's incredible. But he doesn't have that kind of... he doesn't have that quarterback control of a rugby team that you want. And you need that as well. And I'm hoping, with all the talent he's got, Santi Carreras can just add that control to his game. And if he does, well, then the Pumas are in business. D-Mac is at 9. This is the same position he was in last time. I mean, he's had 3 test starts at Fly Half now. It's still early days, though. He was a fullback, or he was off the bench, quite often coming off the bench as a fullback, or the odd minute here and there. So he's been behind Richie Mwanga, so it's early days. So let's see how this one plays out. He could be flying up the list. He could be staying where he is again. I guess that's symbolic of where he's at in this New Zealand setup. Can he make the shirt his own and become a world-class 10 that we know he's got the talent to do? He absolutely has. It was for the same reason Marcus Smith is there, and it was basically a coin toss between D-Mac and Marcus Smith. And I just went with Marcus Smith because he's had a little bit more time in the 10 jersey in recent years. Although, actually, to be fair, just like D-Mac at the Rugby World Cup, Marcus Smith was 15 or on the bench. So, very similar stories at the minute for Damien McKenzie and for Marcus Smith. We'll see how they both go in the months ahead. Matthew Joubert is at 7. He's got a lot more rugby at 10, which is why he's above Marcus Smith and Damien McKenzie, but I think he might end up dropping below them the next time I do this. Superb player, but a little bit like on the last video I was saying, Maxime Luku is not Antoine Dupont, however good he is. It's the same. Matthew Joubert is not Romain Ntamack. He's great, but he's not Romain Ntamack. And I think France found that out at the Rugby World Cup. Joubert was great in that first game against New Zealand, set up that try for Penno, wasn't it? That helped him win the game. But when the pressure really came on in that quarter-final against South Africa, he didn't have the kind of assuredness that you would have imagined Ntamack would have had. So he's at number 7. Manie Le Roux still at number 6. And where does he go from here? He could be going up the list. He's got pressure from Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu, Andre Pollard, obviously. The incumbent. I mean, what's going to happen at the Stormers next season? That's going to be a really interesting one to watch. I've got so much time for Manie Le Roux just as a rugby player, plain and simple. And I'd love to know what he would be like as a 10 if he was relieved of the pressure and the duties of goal kicking, in the way that the French Fly Halves, well, they don't have to worry about the goal kicking because Thomas Ramos will do that and he'll nail all the kicks. What would Manie Le Roux be like if that were the case? I suppose that's just a parallel universe. Maybe if Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu was playing 12 or 15, we can go into that parallel universe. But for the time being, Manie Le Roux is going to have to start nailing his kicks. And so long as he doesn't, then he's not going to be moving up this list. But he's got the talent to. Jack Crowley, what a year he's had. Johnny Who would have thought that a generational player and a captain and a leader and someone that's been one of the greatest players Ireland have ever produced, Johnny Sexton, would be not forgotten about. That's not what I mean. He's not been forgotten about, but I think everyone just assumed he was going to be missed much, much more than he actually has been. Jack Crowley, that is to his credit. 24 years of age, and he has absolutely owned it. Six Nations champion in his first season. He'll be gutted that he didn't get the Grand Slam after that defeat against England, and he absolutely bossed it in that match away in France. For Munster, he's looking great. For Ireland, he's looking good. He looked cool and calm when he was playing away in South Africa. He's got an elite mentality. Very, very good player. Good year. I've got George Ford at number 4. What do you think about that? I don't think that's me being... that's not home bias. I think George Ford's amazing. He had 5 starts in the Six Nations and looked good in what was an improving England team. And he would have been starting against New Zealand, I feel, if he was still fit. And if he does come back fit, there's an argument he'll be starting in the Six Nations next year. Or in the, sorry, more's the point. What am I getting on for next year? The November tests. That's going to be interesting because Marcus Smith has the 10 jersey. George Ford, do not write him off. He's 31 years of age now, but he's been waiting for this time where he can kind of grab the 10 shirt and make it his own. He's had a lot of tests. He's had a lot of tests wearing fly half with no Owen Farrell around. It was George Ford's time and he's done brilliantly, but he got injured. So will he be dropping down this list? Maybe. Roman Unac, already talked about how good he is. He's at 3, 25 years of age and probably the most talented fly half in the world, just in terms of raw talent and overall ability. He's amazing. His last rugby match for France was a year ago in the World Cup warm-up game. Before the World Cup, his injury was a hammer blow to France. And it's only with the fullness of time. At the time you thought, oh, Unamac's out, that's bad. But they've got Joubert. But as I talked about with Matthew Joubert, he's not Roman Unac. Roman Unac is elite. He's an amazing player. Outrageously talented. Like I say, he's still at number 3 despite not having played for a year. And, well, he's not far behind, which says everything about Roman Unac. Finn Russell, who talk about outrageously talented, there's this guy. Now, why is Finn Russell, for all of his talent, not number 1? Because he's outrageously talented, like I say. And I suppose he's probably in pole position right now to be the British and Irish Lions fly half next summer. A brilliant player. And he's, Premiership final with Bath in his first season. Completely helped change their season around. He's the main man for Scotland. He had the chance, along with his Scotland teammates, because it's never on one player, he had the chance to win a Six Nations this year. They were not far away. That loss to France was a bit unlucky with the decision that didn't go for them at the end. Ireland, they'll feel disappointed. That match, Italy, they'll be kicking themselves. And that's probably it. Finn Russell is an amazing player, but like his countrymen, and it's a bit harsh to talk about the Premiership final because they were a man down, but in those big games in 2024, and he's never on one player, which is why it's quite harsh, but hasn't managed to deliver and push through. And that, if he'd have done that, probably would have made Finn Russell number 1. But as it is, has to be Hre Pryde. If there was a World Cup final tomorrow, who would you pick? You'd pick Hre Pryde. And it's for one simple reason. I mean, he's got more to his game than goal kicking, absolutely. He's a really good ball runner, actually, and distributor. But it's a little bit like the tight head prop situation. As an Englishman, I've seen lots of tight head props get selected. Carl Sinclair would be a great example, who have all of the extras that other players don't have. Carl Sinclair's handling is amazing. His ball carrying is really good. But scrummaging, that's your main job. That's the thing that you cannot negotiate on. All the other stuff is lovely to have. If you can't scrum as a tight head prop, forget about it. Same goes. You can have all the skills in the world, all the talent, all the little tricks. Got to nail your fundamental job. Can you get the team in the right part of a pitch? Can you make the right decision at the right time? Can you keep ice cold and take a chance when it's on? Can you slot a kick when you have one kick? Hre Pryde did. Geordie Barrett didn't in a World Cup final. That was it. That was the game. One chance in that semi-final. Hre Pryde's your man. That's why he's number 1. Interesting, isn't it, that there's how many countries? 3 countries with 2 players on that list. England, France, and South Africa. Which there's and with South Africa, you've got Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu just waiting in the wings. Where's he going to appear in the future? So there's a bit of, no, it's not flux, it's a good problem to have. But in the case of England and in the case of South Africa, how do they want to play? And who do they pick to execute that game plan? It's going to be interesting to watch, isn't it? Also some young guys and some older guys, and that dynamic's going to be interesting, one to see play out. There we go. Another video done. on the player power rankings, meaning you're another day closer to the Rugby Championship. Hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, tell me what you think down below in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.